Alright guys, so we're in the Cadillac Daytona Prototype, the DPi, and I'm going to do a back-to-back drive around Daytona in this car, and I'm going to then jump into AMS2 in the same car, at the same track, and compare both of them. Now, my understanding is that they're both laser scan tracks in both games, which yippee, that's obviously a good thing, and both games have the Cadillac DPi. So, yeah, without further ado, let's do maybe 3 or 4 laps in both sims and see kind of how they stack up. And what I'm looking for here is everything from the driving experience, the sound, the modelling of the car, the force feedback, the driving physics, just to kind of feel any subtle differences that might be in the two games. Previous kind of head-to-heads I've done with these two sims, the cars felt similar, like you'd know you were driving the same model car, if that makes sense, but again, felt a little different, but similar. Okay, let's see what it's like into the chicane. Down 2 clicks, down another one, and the sounds are a bit, I'm sure realistic, but a bit. Yeah, the sounds is a bit of a non-event, I think. Okay, I like that snap back of it wanting to come round on brakes, so as the car pitches forward. Yeah, that's quite good. Trying to trail brake it in, I could feel the back just getting a bit light, so the force feedback in this is a lot better compared to the LMPs that I drove, in my opinion. It seems a bit more speaking my language, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, yeah, I get it, I know what the car is wanting to do, I know where it is, I can feel the bit of slip, the centre steering wheel goes a bit lighter when you over push like that. The sideways drift action is quite accurate as well. Anyone that's driven a car on track will know that when the car starts to lose control in front and back at the same time, you get this like dull sideways drift where you're like, oh come on, grip up, and it's quite frustrating and scary at the same time, and this just done that there. So yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, I like that instant gear shift noise sound from the engine. It's realistic, it's kind of what prototype cars and race cars in general will do. It's that instant gear shift without the canned effects, which I quite like. We'll do one more lap of this and kind of unpack what to make of it. Yeah, that was nice. I fighting the car all the way in. The thing was like literally light on steering in the centre, so we were maybe a centimetre from the back of it trying to come round. So yeah, I like that. There we go again. Some of this is down to setup, obviously, and maybe a bit of brake bias. Just push the brake bias forward 2 clicks. But yeah, the point is, feels nice, feels realistic, feels what you would expect a car to do. There we go again. I've never driven a prototype, obviously, but all I can comment is on how a car would behave, because a prototype is still a car at the end of the day. Like, it's still going to exhibit certain characteristics that either they're accurate as to how a car would behave or they're not. It's as simple as that. Yeah, this RF2 is actually not too bad. It's a lot better than what I used to, when I played it about 6 months ago. We went through maybe a month or 2 of being my main sim, and then I discovered like a couple of bugs here and there, and I kind of left it. But these latest updates are quite good. The only thing I don't like it, well, they really need to do like some sort of offline championship thing, which I don't believe they have still. and I'm open to correction on that, by the way. Okay, so let's park this here. So I've been disqualified from a little stop-go penalty. That's fine. No, let's watch the replay. Yeah, so my main problem with RFactor 2 has been if I want to run some kind of offline championship. And I was actually going to buy the BTCC pack today, and the packs are confusing as well. Like, one pack has, I think, 2 of the cars with Donington, then another pack has the Ford, I think it is, and the Hyundai. So why can't you not just give me a BTCC pack, just, you know, with the track with Donington and whatever else they added. So the whole packaging of the stuff in Steam is just, it's bonkers. Like, and you have to buy 2 packs essentially to, you know, for what you want, which is the BTCC experience. And on that point, like I say, I'd like to just race offline in a little championship, you know. So that's been one of my I suppose criticisms. But anyway, back to this car in particular, right? So it drove really well. It was very realistic on brakes, particularly into turn 1 at Daytona. It's one of the most challenging corners you'll drive in sim racing, and I'm sure in reality as well, because you're coming onto the brakes, you know, in a car like this or similar. You're coming in well over 270 to close to 300 kilometers an hour. And what you're doing is that as you're in the braking area, the corner radius is getting a bit tighter to the left, and you have this kind of, the car pitches forward, and you're trying to control the back of it and keep the back of it in line with a tiny bit of counter steer when it's done right. And I felt that very clearly here. The feedback was very good. I could feel exactly what the car was doing at all times, and for once I feel that I wasn't overwhelmed with a lot of random feedback forces the way I was with the Orica and the Ligier LMP2 car. This was much more enjoyable. I was feeling the road. I was feeling a bit extra bumpiness, which is what RFactor 2 sort of does anyway. But it wasn't to the point where this is unrealistic or this is crap or anything like that. It was actually nice. It was really nice to drive. And I could also feel the undulations on the curbs around Daytona. Like, it's not, the infield anyway, is not the smoothest track in the world, particularly over the curbs. And you can see some of the curbs as well are sort of, like this one here, for example, like you can see it there, like it's not smooth, and you could feel all of that as well around the track. The chicane felt quite good. It felt rewarding to drive. The only thing I'll say is the sound maybe felt a bit flat, but to be honest, most onboards do sound a little flat in reality as well, so I won't hold that against them. I'm actually impressed. Normally when I do these head-to-heads, RFactor 2 gets a bit of a hiding off me, in my opinion. But no, this is good. I'm happy with how this drove. So what we'll do is we'll take the same car, same track, jump into AMS2, and let's see. And again, before doing this video, I haven't actually driven a sim in about 4 or 5 days because work for the last week has been a bit hectic. I've been on site in my office and stuff like that, so I've no practice, which is probably a good thing because, like I say, I want to drive these as raw as possible without any bias. So what I'll do, I'm going to pause this here and we'll jump into AMS2 and let's see how it stacks up. Alright guys, we're in Automobilista 2 in the Cadillac DPi at Daytona as well. So yeah, I suppose without further ado, let's jump into this. Now what I'm going to do real quick, in fact, is just change my LED profile for this car. Where are we? Cadillac. DPi, there we go. Okay. Just load the LEDs, but yeah, everything else is the same. So yeah, let's go for it and see what this car is actually like around Daytona. I've just driven the one in RFactor. So yeah, let's have a look at this and see what it looks like. Yeah, okay, so it sounds incredible. Yeah, Yeah, it sounds really good from the outside. Let's have a look at the inside. Yeah, so visually, obviously, it's a lot better. Sound-wise, it seems to be pretty up there as well. Let's see what it drives like. Now, I know Automobilista might take a lap or so to get the tyres into the correct you know, temperatures and stuff. Otherwise, we might end up locking up a little bit too much. But yeah, let's go for it. So it sounds really good. Visually, it's really cool. You know, graphically, it's obviously a lot better. I mean, the detail on the dash. Force feedback perspective, I feel similar to what I felt in RFactor, to be honest. It's not a lot different, in my opinion. Let's see what it's like on brakes. Yeah, a little bit less of the pitch forward, but I think that could be setup related as well. What I can do is I can push the brake bias back a few clicks for the next time we're going around there and see what happens. But yeah, it feels very similar, in fact. There's less detail coming through the steering from the curbs. Like it's not as much as RFactor, which feels a bit more realistic. I think, you know, like, I mean, RFactor sometimes can give you a bit too much, but to be honest, I mean, I'm splitting hairs by saying that. Both of them feel very similar, I think, in terms of how they drive. AMS2, it's a bit easier to lock up the brake, but again, that's an AMS2 thing, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it feels... Yeah, I mean, it's normally at this point where I start saying, oh, how this feels different than the other one, and here's why and here's how, but this actually feels quite similar to the RFactor one. You know, like it's like I'm driving the same car. I mean, yeah, there's teeny little intricate differences, but honestly, like nothing that... Like, I mean, it does feel like the same car. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm in a DPi, and I'm at Daytona, and here's how it drives, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have fun, I think, in both. Yeah, I'm getting those little snap corrections now, just having moved the brake bias forward. I'm sure if I softened up the front suspension, you'd probably get similar as well. Yeah, and that's, you know, I'm stating the obvious there, but obviously one setup in one sim to the other will give small differences like that, how it's going to behave under braking. But in terms of driving dynamics, they feel incredibly similar. I was going to say the low force, or sorry, the low speed downforce appears to be slightly better in RF2, but what I'll do after I cross the line here, I'll just go into sector 1 again and just see. I want to just pay attention to that bit, because, you know, obviously we're in a big prototype, a lot of downforce can be generated. What's the car like when you're going slow and it's a big clumsy thing, you know? Oh, there's that snap there. Yeah, so it still will come around for sure. And I just want to see what it's like in the slow speed up here in the next 2 corners, just to see, or the next 1 corner at least, with little downforce. Does it bite and turn in as well? Not really. No, I have to kind of give it a bit of throttle to get the back of it to, you know, come around and slip. Yeah, okay. Cadillac DPi, both games, it's very good. It feels very similar. There's not much in it. And if you're an RF2 guy or an AMS2 guy, you're gonna have fun no matter what. A lot of it may come down to visually what you prefer. AMS2 obviously looks really good, but I am getting a little cracking sound in the audio, and I know AMS2 has that on some of the cars. I'm not sure if it's being picked up on the recording. Yeah, very nice car to drive in both games. Very impressed with RF2. I think the RF2 one was, I'd say, marginally easier to connect with, I think, from a driving perspective. And I just mean marginally. I mean, they both feel very, very similar. But yeah, if I'm being super duper duper critical, the one on RF2 did feel quite good, to be fair. But yeah, I think the sounds in this are good. But I think both of them give a good DPi experience, particularly around this track at least. You know, yeah. No, nothing more to say, guys. I am going to do a different one, looking at two different cars that are in both sims, and we pick a different track, of course. But yeah, for this one we'll leave it here. Yeah, the Cadillac DPi, RF2 or AMS, whichever one you prefer, go for it, because you will be essentially driving the same thing, and the experience and the feel, it's very similar. So yeah, hope you like watching this one, and yeah, if you like this sort of thing, just let me know in the comments, do the like and subscribe thing and all that crap. And yeah, until the next one, guys, thanks for watching.